better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it was on my end apparently. Okay, so I got
Okay.
the recording started, so we're ready to get going.
Okay. You want to open us up in prayer, Johnny?
Sure.
Oh,
So, dear Lord, uh, thank you for gathering us here to study your word and help us study what you want us to learn. Amen.
Amen.
amen. Okay, so we were in Genesis 19. I think we got through the first four, right? So we're ready
Yeah, I think
for
so. Yeah, 'cause you stopped at the
verses.
Yeah.
devilish mouse.
Yeah, yeah. So we're ready for verses 5 through 10, first off. Oops, I don't move this over. There. They called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them." Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have two daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of our way," they replied. "This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They was talking about Lot, that is.
Mm.
They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness so that they could not find the door. Now, I found the things I found with this verse was Lot tried to protect the men by offering his own daughters, themselves virgins, in the place of the two men. This offer could have inflicted more harm if carried out. But even though he made this offer, Lot received mercy and was counted righteous by God's grace alone. Lot was powerless to influence or deter the crowd. The men of Sodom scoffed at Lot, calling him a foreigner who had no right to judge them. They tried to break down this door. The angels saved Lot, striking these men, violent men with blindness. And I never could understand why Lot, these are my words, I never could understand why Lot would be willing to subject his own daughters to this, unless he knew that somehow these men were actually angels and was trying to protect them because of it. So, so what's your thought on that?
Uh, Same as you thought, pretty much.
I'm just in shock that he offered virgin daughters and they turned that down. It's like how wicked their minds must have been to want to have sex with men when he offered two virgin daughters. I mean, what straight man
Yeah,
wouldn't jump for that?
yeah. Unless they was so used to the other way, it didn't really appeal to them,
Yeah,
or they was just looking to get to the men because they didn't want them in their town.
yeah,
See, I was thinking maybe they knew somehow who these angels, they were angels of the Lord, and they didn't want them coming in and convicting them or something.
yeah.
So to have sex with them would be defile them, and they wouldn't be able to preach anymore.
Yeah,
But
that
that's
that makes a lot of sense there.
well, it was a lot more than what I had read, but right here. It says, but even though he made this offer, Lot received mercy and was counted righteous by God's grace alone. Now, here, right here's what, to me, when I was reading that, when I read that, it truly brought to my mind that God really does look on the heart, because what Lot offered them really was basically sin. But God looked on his heart to see his real motive, which was to protect the two angels of the Lord.
Yeah.
And he even provided a way to stop it. So if nothing else, I guess you could say God stopped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all I have on that. Those 10. Because Genesis, okay, then going down to Genesis 12:29. Wait. Wow. The angels informed Lot they were about to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. The two men said to Lot, do you have anyone else here, sons-in-law, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking, which is pretty commonplace, because even nowadays when you try to tell somebody not to do something, that something's gonna happen, they're kind of laughed at. And that's what they basically did with Lot, was they laughed at him because they thought it was a joke. With the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, which brings me to the point of my one aunt. My aunt and uncle lived on Watkins Street, and that place was always said to be flooding. Every time you turn around, that area flooded all the time. And my aunt was busy getting things up, putting the things up so that the water wouldn't destroy it when it came. Well, she heard on the radio or something that the rain had stopped and the waters were going to start receding and it wasn't going to flood. Well, she sat on her stairs, and I'm not going to say she's psychic or clairvoyant, but this is what she told us. She sat on her stairs going to the upstairs, and as she's sitting there thanking God for the place not flooding, all of a sudden she hears this little voice say, no, it's going to flood. Continue to put your stuff up. And she did, and then she went out and told the people in her neighborhood, she said, it's going to flood yet, people. You have to still put your stuff up so you don't lose it. Well, they just laughed at her, except for one young woman. And she came to her and said, Edie, is that true? Is it really going to still flood? She said, yes. And the woman took and put all her stuff that she had. She didn't have much. She put it up where it wouldn't get wet or anything. Well, it did flood. So a lot of people lost a lot of their stuff. But my aunt and that woman did not lose any of her stuff, because they laughed at her for her warning them, and they should have heeded that warning. And that's basically what's going on here. Lot's trying to tell his sons-in-law, come warn them. Well, that's because the city's going to be destroyed. And they just laughed at him because they thought it was a joke. So, you You got anything to say about that before I continue reading?
When you talked about how they laughed at him, thought it was a joke, that just what came to my mind was Noah and the flood, and how everybody laughed at him, thought he was crazy when he talked about that, and then the flood came, and they realized, but by the time they realized, it was too late.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a little bit of history repeating itself right here. So, with the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished." When he hesitated, the men grasped his hand in the hands of his wife and his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, "Flee for your lives, don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lord, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Well, let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared." He said to them, "Very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it." That is why the town was called Zoar. By the time Lot reached Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife, even though they said, "Don't look back," but Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Now, why do you think Lot still pleaded for the cities, even though he knew they was going to be destroyed? Do you think it was because of his sons-in-law that didn't want to go because they thought it was a joke? Was he trying to protect them for his daughter's sake?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that, and I don't know. Maybe Lot had a heart for the people, because I'm sure he's made lots of friends and stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what amazes me when you read that is the fact that Lot said something that, well, he won't be able to make it to the mountain, but spare this city, this little city. It's not much, but I can make it there. And God listens to our pleas. He listens to our cries.
Yeah.
He don't just say, well, nope, I done made up my mind. You got to get to the mountain, or sorry about your luck. No, he listens to him and says, okay, but you got to make it there quick. And I like the fact that God said, I can't do anything until you get there. Just goes to show how God keeps his word.
Yeah. He wanted to, to me, it looks like God wanted to make sure Lot and his family was safe away before he did anything. That's some of the things that I come up with. I did look up David Gusick for this. The angels warned Lot to get his family out of Sodom, as the city would be destroyed because of its wickedness. Lot believed the warning and tried to get his family to safety. His sons-in-law, those men pledged to his daughters thought he was joking. It seems Lot lost spiritual influence even within his own family. Huh? Yeah, and that's kind of true. I mean, if they actually believed Lot was faithful to God, they wouldn't have questioned his warning to me. Lot chose to live in a very wicked city. His spirit struggled against the outright evil in Sodom, but he still stayed. The corruption of the city compromised Lot and harmed his family. We can criticize Lot for his foolishness, but in truth, we all struggle with a challenge like he did. And that's true. You know, who of us here hasn't read the Bible and read what some stupid act that somebody said and think, well, why would they do that? Didn't they know that? But, in a way, we can turn that back on ourselves because we do the same thing. We often do stupid things that we know we shouldn't do, but we do it anyway. So we really can't criticize the people in the Bible for doing the same thing. We live in a world that celebrates sin and personal freedoms. In our culture, God's standards are constantly put down as old-fashioned and restrictive. And that's kind of what I've been thinking about all morning, even through Sunday school and that, how, especially when I think it was in Pastor Cliff's sermon, he talks about this very thing, how some people consider our beliefs old fashioned and restrictive and that, and sometimes I think, yeah, it is in a way, but a lot to me, from what I see now, our beliefs are getting kind of watered down and I just lost the word I wanted. It's getting watered down and liberal, getting too liberal. I mean, they want to get away from this not being judgmental, but I think they're allowing too much. It's like, to me, I have two, I have a, I have two cousins that are lesbians. I love my cousins. I think they're very nice people to even talk to. But I still maintain my conviction against their lifestyle, but that doesn't mean I judge them, and it doesn't keep me from getting together with them. But anyway, what's your thoughts on that? I think we can love people without judging them, but we shouldn't love them so much that we also love their sin. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think the problem with this country is we're too soft. We're too worried about hurting people's feelings, and sometimes the truth hurts. And we shouldn't be afraid to share the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's those that go the other way when they speak what they consider truth to somebody and it hurts them. But in reality, what they said, they should never have said at all because it wasn't true. And they had no right to even say it. I think that's where we really need to be in prayer and the word before we even talk to anybody to make sure that we don't do that.
No.
No.
So, how do you live a godly life and stay close enough to secular culture and its people to bring godly influence? I think we kind of answered that, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll say so.
Yeah.
pretty much.
We love the people, but not the action.
Yeah. like the old adage, love the sinner, hate the sin. But too many people don't understand what that really means, and they think if you hate the sin, then you hate the person, and that's just not true. But rather than listen to the person explain what they mean, they would rather push them away.
Mm.
And how do you recognize when the world's influences jeopardizes your spiritual vitality?
I think that would be when we try to fit in and we try to like the gayness when we like sweeping under the rug. Like for instance, like if a pastor gets asked to marry a gay couple and he does it to please the couple, that's you're kind of going against the Bible when you do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I think it's
Yeah.
when you let this world influence you and you do something just to fit in because you're worried about what they're going to say or do.
Yeah. That's exactly what I come up with too. I'm glad we. I'm glad somebody thought come up with the same idea I did because you know like that Christian couple that owned that bakery. I think it's sad what happened because those two lesbians really gave them a hard time, and then they ended up suing them because because this couple wouldn't bake them a wedding cake because they said it went against their convictions. Well, instead of this lesbian couple just going on to the next bakery, why did they have to sue them and make their life miserable and get them out of business? To me, that just hurt what they want people to accept them for worse because nobody's going to accept somebody that does that to them. And they're going to be more critical of them because they did that.
Yeah,
Because there
because
was no
that just
reason
shows
for it.
that just shows that they have no morals. If they're going to sue somebody for standing for their morals, then that just shows that they either have no morals or they have no leg to stand on.
Yeah, but to me, it never sat well with me because I thought, why hurt somebody just because you want to prove a point? And to me, it just boils down to they just wanted money because that's exactly what that judge ordered that couple to do was pay them money,
Mm.
and there was no reason
Yeah.
to them pay the money. And it just hurts when somebody does that. It just hurts their cause for acceptance. I mean, these people want acceptance, but when they do things like that, it's hard to accept them. At least that's how I think.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
I agree with you because that just shows they have no morals.
Uh-huh. And then this is what David Guzik come up with. Sometimes God calls believers to intentionally live in a hostile environment for the sake of the gospel. More often, though, we live with one foot in the world and allow the world to steal God's best from us. We are not to love and share the practices of the world. In other words, we're in the world, but we're not supposed to be of the world. We're supposed to be separate, which is what being a born again Christian is. We're saints of God. We're separate from the world. We're here to set the example. And as Rob so aptly put it this morning, we're here to lead the lost and get them saved. But we're not supposed to become the world to do that. And then this part, we are to love and share God's heart for the people of the world, even our enemies. The battle to be in the world but not of the world is real, but believers have the victory through the power of the Holy Spirit because of Jesus Christ. Wow. I didn't realize that agreed with what I just said. I hadn't read it until. So, where are you compromising in ways big and small? Now, I
Hold
had,
on.
I had an answer to this, but I forgot what it was. I think, I think in a way, it could be, um, well, I know this. It's when I do paranormal investigating. I say it's because I'm just researching because I like to research the paranormal, like to understand what's going on or I really want to know what's on the other side and understand it better. But sometimes I let that focus get in the background and I just start doing it for fun, especially when I do communicate with a spirit. So in that way, I'm kind of compromising it, I guess. I'm not sure. Instead of just doing what I want to do, which is to just research the paranormal and find out what all this is all about, and find out why these people are doing it. And if I don't keep my focus on what I'm doing, then I can compromise it because I don't believe that every spirit that haunts someplace is a demon. And to me, I do believe there are human spirits that didn't cross over for some reason or other, and that they hang around here. But that's my belief.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find answers for
Yeah, I'm
that.
not gonna lie on that. I get it, but I struggle with that because I'm a strong believer that when you die, you go to heaven or hell. But there's been enough evidence showing that maybe it is possible. Because, for instance, I'm not gonna throw names, but I know a couple people that somebody very close to them passed away, and a day after or a few days after the passing, they still feel like they felt their presence around. So
Yeah,
that leads me to believe that there might be something to that. But when you talk about compromising in ways, I can think of a couple ways personally that I guess you can call a compromise because we're not supposed to have premarital sex or live together before marriage, and I've done that. And the one thing that I'm getting better at working on is what we watch on TV. I think we compromise big time on TV. Like I used to like to watch Child's Play. We can compromise, say, "Oh, it's just a TV show. It don't mean nothing." But in my life, and I've seen it in the past when I'm watching shows like Trailer Park Boys, where it's cursing here, cursing there, and the next thing you know, you're out, doing your job, and you get mad, and curse words are the first things that come out. And if you're
yeah,
putting good stuff, then good stuff comes out. It goes basically to what you put in is what you get out. And to me, I think a lot of people, I know I'm not alone, TV is a huge compromise. Internet, same
yeah.
way. You can use the internet for good or you can use it for the bad. And I'm guilty of doing both.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it just goes along with the other thing that I think PB said once. Anything taken to extremes can be used for bad. Can't remember his example was, but it made a lot of sense.
I
I
remember
mean, we
one
got to
thing,
take.
food. He was talking about comparing food or comfort food with alcoholism. I think that might be somewhere around where you're hitting at, something along that line. Maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah,
but that's another compromise too. Is well, I'm not turning to the booze, but me, Mountain Dew is a big downfall for me. It's like I'm a bad day. Hey, I'll drink that Mountain Dew. I don't care. I've had a bad day. Or I'll get some ice cream, or I'm going out to eat. I just don't feel like cooking, or I've had a bad day. I'm just gonna eat.
yeah,
I'm just gonna eat some chips or something like
yeah. Drink Mountain Dew. No wonder you're bouncing off the walls.
that. It don't have any effect on me anymore.
But see that, and see, food when used in the right way is good, but if it's overused, that's also, that can be a sin because that can be that's termed gluttony because you don't need as much food as people think they need. I mean, you can live on 1,500 calorie diet, which may only be a half cup of potatoes and gravy, half cup of vegetables, and maybe 2 ounces of meat. But people think, look at that plate, and they think, wow, I can't live on that, but you really can. So to overeat is considered gluttony, and gluttony is what's the sin. And drinking itself, having a drink, an alcoholic drink, one in itself is not sin. It's when you have more than one and you drink until you get drunk. That's a sin. So anytime we take something to extreme can be a sin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how we ended up on that subject.
Well, we talk about compromising in big and small ways, and that would be a compromise.
Oh yeah. Then we have lots of ways of escape, which is Genesis 19:15-23. At dawn, the angels moved Lot's reluctant family to move out of the city, and Lot's family was reluctant because the angels basically had to grab their hands and drag them out. Flee for your lives. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere. Flee to the mountains. Lot fearfully fled with the angels to stay in one of the small towns of the plain. The angels allowed him to stop in Zoar, which means a little one. I knew I had that definition.
I was wondering what Zoar meant. That makes sense now.
Yeah, Zoar, little one. The Lord's mercy was so great, he allowed Lot to choose his destination. I never realized it before, but the Lord did have great mercy if he allowed Lot to choose where he wanted to go instead of going to the mountains like he had picked. And the Lord held back the destruction until Lot was safely entered into Zoar. And then Sodom's fall. God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, raining burning sulfur from the heavens. Despite the angel's warning not to look back, Lot's wife looked back at Sodom and was turned into a pillar of salt. Many ancient cultures speak of this disaster, like the histories of Tacitus, Roman, Sanchuniathon, Phoenician, and Josephus, Jewish, to name a few. Jesus used Sodom's sudden violent end to warn of the suddenness of judgment at his second coming. People will live life as usual, unaware that God's judgment draws near. Now, going back to this one, despite the angel's warning not to look back, Lot's wife looked back. I think, in a way, that's that natural curiosity we all have. Lot's wife probably heard what was going on, and she was curious. She wanted to see what was going on. I mean, if I was there, I probably would be curious too. I don't know if I would really have looked back. I don't know because I wasn't there, but I'd like to think I wouldn't have. But in a way, maybe my curiosity would have gotten the better of me, and I did look back. And I think that's all that is. Lot's wife got the best. Lot's wife's curiosity got the best of her, and she couldn't resist. She had to sneak a peek. Now this is what's is there. This is what now stands on that site, and they call this. It's called Sa'ah. It's called Lot's wife, but it's supposed to be the pillar of salt that still stands. In fact, this is a better picture of it. It stands in Jordan, but it stands like this to even today. To be right here is the formation. To the right here is the formation that stands on the spot today that many believe is Lot's wife standing. There is a pillar of salt there as a pillar of salt. What is your conclusion after seeing this? Do you believe this is Lot's wife still standing there today, or just a stone formation that kind of resembles it?
I don't know. That's hard to say because they found stuff. They found existence of Noah's Ark, so it's possible, but man's done so much trickery in the past that it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an answer either way. I mean, I believe it's possible. But I also believe that maybe man might have done that just to make us believe that. So I don't know if I want to answer either way on that because I don't know.
Yeah, that's like me. I mean, I want to believe it really is Lot's wife, as a pillar of salt, but yet I'm like you. I don't know. I mean, to me, it also just looks like a stone formation.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thing. Maybe. Who knows, though, but it could be. I mean, because you turn her into a pillar of salt. So, I mean, at that point, you're not going to be recognizable anyway. So,
yeah,
I don't know. That'd be my answer. I don't know. I don't know if I want to give an answer either way.
Yeah. But see, another thing that strikes me, too, he turned her into a pillar of salt. Well, salt, even as a pillar, salt's going to eventually dissolve once the rains come and wash it away.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not salt, that's stone. But like I said, I'm not judging, and I know you know I'm not judging. I don't know, and in reality, we got to come across the reality conclusion. Where'd you get this picture? From the internet, right? So that's why you just got to leave with a grain of salt that, it could be possible or it could be, because when it comes to the internet, we don't really know what's true, what's not, unless it lines up with the Bible. So.
Hey, you know what they say about the internet, Chris.
Yeah.
If it's on the internet,
it must be true.
But see, then too, I gotta remember how far back it went. I mean, we were into the BCs here, and that could have been like 1 million years ago.
Yeah.
Well, maybe 1 million years ago, but still 4,000 or 3,000 years ago. How likely is that formation going to stay there with all the natural disasters, storms, and earthquakes and tornadoes that hit an area?
Yeah, but also when you think about places that Jesus, this is obviously before Jesus, but time when Jesus walked this earth, that some of the places that he walked, some of the walls and stuff like that, is still there to this day. Once again, whether that's truly true or not, without seeing it for myself, and even if I saw it for myself, I still don't know if I don't know if I'd completely believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't throw it out and say it's not possible. I mean, it's possible because anything with God, nothing's impossible.
Yeah.
But with
To me,
man,
I just,
it's not.
yeah. To me, I just want to say it's possible, but probably improbable that it is. But
Right.
I, like you, I don't know, so I can't really say for sure. And it's possible that people want to believe so much that her likeness still exists that they're willing to believe anything.
Yeah.
But to me, I guess if seeing is believing, I'd have to go there myself and see it up close and personal. So, oh, I forgot about this last part. Huh, I didn't even study this part. I forgot about it.
That's all right. We can study it now.
Yeah, 30 through 38, Lot and his daughters. Lot and his two daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. Huh. And that's another thing that intrigued me because he decided to stay in the mountains instead of going to Zoar because he was afraid to stay in Zoar. Maybe it's because of what happened to his wife. He and his two daughters lived in a cave. Oh, one day the older daughter said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man around here to give us children. As is the custom all over the world, let's get our father to drink wine and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father." Hmm, incest.
Yeah, and that
That
right,
night,
right there's that's got me wondering. Like, is that? I mean, 'cause I still want to say that's a sin, but with their thought process on that, would that be one of those things where you talk about a compromising, where they're like, well, that's the only way family's gonna preserve on is through our father. But if that's the case, why didn't they just talk to father and just, instead of having to get him drunk? Because that's trickery when they're getting him drunk to do it, instead of just saying, hey, we want to preserve our family, we need to use you. And who knows, the father might have been open for that.
or they might have been, or they could have been afraid that he would say no.
Yeah, that too.
But there again, they wouldn't have known that unless they did ask.
Hmm.
And they just decided not to ask, just do this and that, which is definitely wrong. That night they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. The next day the older daughter said to the younger, "Last night I slept with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him and so we can preserve our family line through our father." So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger daughter also had a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites of today. Now, right there, after the first time, when they did it to him the second time, Lot should have thought something was up. But then when they both became pregnant and there's no other men around, his father should have known what happened. And maybe by then he did.
Yeah, he had two of
But
them,
he
and I'm
doesn't.
sure the Bible doesn't really say there, but
Yeah.
it's one of those
That's what,
questions we can ask the Lord when we get to heaven, but we'll already know then.
yeah. Maybe, you know, maybe he did punish them some way, but not too severely. Or maybe he just figured, well, the damage is done, no sense in doing anything.
Or maybe he thought the same way they did, and may not have been happy with the way they did it, but he might have been okay with it. But that's one of those,
Yeah.
we don't know. But being a father, I mean, I can't imagine him being okay with it. But then again, it's one of those, they were the only ones in the mountain. There was nobody for them to, you know, so
Yeah.
it's one of those unknowns.
I don't know. See, that's one of those questions we don't know. And we may never know. The end. More to come in Genesis to study, so don't touch that house.
Touch, touch, touch.
Bam. I should have duplicated that because that was supposed to go after that anyway.
Yeah.
So more to come in Genesis. So Genesis study. So, and that was the purpose of having this at the end. Don't touch that mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Oh, so I'm doing chapter 20, right?
Yeah, and I do believe it's your turn on that one, Johnny.
Okay.
And then I'll take chapter 21.
And then we'll have fun. See, right, so I'm glad we're doing these on Sunday because right now, the way my work schedule is, sometimes about every other Saturday I have to work anyway, and I work till 5:30,
Yeah.
or sometimes longer.
And I was going to say, with me starting my new venture, I don't. Because they asked on my schedule, and stupid me said, well, after noon on Saturday and Sundays, I'm available. So if I wind up working Saturday and Sundays, we'll figure something out. Even if we have to do it during the week or something, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there because I don't know exactly where we're going yet. But I did make the comment to him that Sundays is technically I shouldn't work Sundays, but if they need me to, I'm not going to tell them no.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you might be digging a
That's
hole
it.
because if they know that you'll do it, all they have to do is say, well, we really need you to go here, whether they really need you or not.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll see. But if I start feeling burned out, I'll just tell them, hey, I'm getting burned out. I need at least one day of rest. But I won't know until it starts and see how physically demanding it's really going to be. Because even though driving a bus and delivery is not too physically demanding, it's just the constant work. It gets to you after a while. And that's why I've been working on cutting back. And it's like now I trying to cut back, but it looks like I might be picking back up. So I won't know until things start out.
Yeah.
But they say they'll work with my crazy schedule, so we're about to find out how true that is. I mean, I still got gig work if all fails, but I'm trying to do away with this gig work. I'm trying to basically just get out of doing all that altogether. Because it's less wear and tear on my car,
Yeah.
hopefully less stress, but let's face it, that's probably not true. But at least my car is going to be happier with me. And it'll last longer.
What is gig work?
DoorDash, Instacart, basically an app that I can turn on and make money anytime I want. and it's basically a subcontract job. So I'm contracting myself out, whether it's through DoorTrash, Instacart, Grubhub, whatever app that's out there that I can get on. And right now, since I
Well,
can't
you
do
do know you have to
DoorTrash,
use your car.
yeah, I use my car for it. Like
Wait,
Uber Eats and Grubhub, if they order food, it's just like DoorDash. I go pick up the food, take it to them, drop it off, and I get paid whatever the base pay is plus tips.
so that's basically a paycheck for the.
Yeah, it's
Dang, bro.
I
You
get
don't
paid
get
by
that.
the
I'm
job,
busy.
so I can either get
Shit,
paid
I'm
daily
busy doing
or
Bible
I get paid
study.
weekly. Just depends on how hurt I am for money, if I need the money, or if I can wait on the money. But I can always cash. Like I can go right now. Well, maybe not now because I cashed out this
Busy.
morning. But
I
I
really
can, like, if
understand
I
my
didn't
bit.
cash out, and let's say I want to go out and get something to eat, and I don't have the money, I can go out and do a couple runs, make that $20, cash out, and I got money to go buy lunch or whatever I want to do with it. So it's nice to be able to have instant cash when you
Oh,
need it. But it's not like I'm just going to get $20. It'd take me about an hour or two to come up with it, but I can do it.
huh.
So, well, let's go ahead and close out in prayer. Like I said, I'm gonna go try to make a few bucks today, but I'm not gonna work too hard.
Okay. I'll let you guys decide how you want to do it.
All right. Well, Johnny, you want to go first or last?
Yeah, I can go first.
All right, I'll let you go, and then
Dear
I'll
Lord,
go.
thank.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, dear Lord, thank you for helping us study what you need to study, what we need to study, and thank you for helping us soak in what was important. Bring bring us back safely next week to study your word again. Amen.
And dear Lord, we just ask that those that are listening, that they will get something out of this. And thank you for opening our eyes and that going on that as we go through our life that if we do compromise something that you'll open our eyes and realize that we shouldn't be compromising. We need to stand firm on our word or on your word and on our beliefs, Lord, that we shouldn't compromise just because the world says it's okay, Lord. If you say it's not okay, then we shouldn't be doing it. So, Lord, just continue to guide us, Lord, that continue to guide us that when we do start straying away, Lord, that you'll guide us back in the right direction, Lord. And once again, Lord, I thank you for everything that you have done and everything that you will do.
Lord, help us to take what we have learned here, Lord, and apply it to our lives. Help us to be able to be more willing to look at the person and not so much the sin, but yet love the person, but try not to accept the sin. And help us to give us the words when people do look at us like we're judging. Help us to explain to these people that it's not really judging. We love the person, we just don't accept the sin. And keep us always searching your word, Lord. Keep our feet on the straight and narrow path as we travel. Keep us safe as we go through the week and bring us back to next week to study your word all again. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.